So at 1 week old, there's nothing that we can do for ourselves. At best, we can turn towards the nipple when we get a little sensation on our cheek, and we can latch on to our mother's breast, and to express displeasure, we can cry. But there's not much else where we might be able to grip onto a person's finger. But apart from that, there's almost nothing that we can do to protect ourselves. So if we start to get hungry or thirsty, and we search around for a parent's breast or for a bottle or for something to nourish us, and there's nothing there, we're going to start expressing our distress. And when we're in healthy circumstances, someone is going to respond. They're going to give us the nourishment that we need. But in those cases where no one was available to give us the nourishment, to soothe us if a balloon burst nearby, or a dog started barking, or there was a loud noise, or something scratched us, or stung us, or it's getting too hot or too cold, if we stay in that state and we begin crying because we're uncomfortable and no one comes to help us alleviate that discomfort and to help us to re-regulate our system back to a state where there's no activation, we're going to become increasingly panicked, and the situation becomes quite desperate quite quickly, as I'll show you shortly. One of the things that is going on in that place that we're that young is we don't know anything about the world. We simply have only been around for a week or however long it is, and so we don't know that eventually the parent is going to come if we're in a healthy environment. That they may be in the washroom, they may be taking a shower, they may be having a conversation on the phone, they may be dealing with one of our siblings, someone might be in crisis, and they're the priority for being taken care of at that particular moment. But from our perspective, we've got no way of knowing that the parent will ever come back, because why? Where will we get that idea from? We haven't been alive long enough to build up a repository of information that says, just wait a few minutes, everything's going to be okay. It's not. When we're in that young stage, nothing is going to be okay. When the parent is not available, it's a life-threatening situation. All of the alarms in our system go off. We go into panic mode. It's absolute crisis, because from our perspective, we're dead. This is the end. And to discover an artifact of what this looks like 12 months later when we're 1 year old, I was looking for something that would show me what this looks like, because I came from a place where I speculated and hypothesized that this might be the case. And then one day I'm looking through some sites on psychology, and I come across this video that is called the still face experiment. And what I get to see in the still face experiment is a child brought into a laboratory situation, and the child's 1 year old, and a really sweet looking young girl, and she and her mom are in the laboratory, and they're playing and they're engaging and they're interacting, they're having this delightful time with one another. But unbeknownst to the child, the mother has this instruction that the moment that there's a rap on the one-way mirror and there's a camera behind that mirror, so 1 year olds don't know anything about this, but the mom knows exactly what's going on. She's taken her child in the interests of science to help in this experiment to find out about behavior of human beings by looking at this relationship between the child and the mom. So the mom's instruction is to, once she hears the rap on the window, stop interacting, stop giving facial feedback to your child, and we're going to film what happens. Well, take a look at what happens, because it's absolutely fascinating. Take a look, and it's only 2 minutes long. Many people find it quite distressing to watch this video. But notice in the video, in under 2 minutes, how much distress a young girl expresses or how much distress we get to see her in, even though her mom is only that far away from her. They're that far apart, and yet this little girl shows us with that experience of the 1 week old. And this is at 1 year old, so it's still in her body, that experience, that knowledge that once mom breaks of contact, I may never be able to restore that contact again. I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to smile. I'm going to engage. I'm going to do all the things that my mom thought cute 2 minutes earlier. And when that doesn't work, and I start to panic, I go into crisis because the pleasant things that I do haven't re-engaged my mom, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get her back. I start to express, I go into crying, I go into panicking, I go into looking away. My whole body starts to tell a story of how terrifying the experience is for me. And the reason I show you this movie, this little video clip, is because that trauma that the little girl that you will see experiencing, that trauma that she experiences, and they've done this experiment millions of times, and her behavior is consistent with what almost every healthy child will do. So what we know is that as children, when we experience disconnection, that sets off all alarms. It's a traumatic experience for us. The longer the duration and the less healing that it occurs afterwards, the more trauma is going to get trapped in the cellular memory that we carry for the rest of our lives. And it's that cellular memory from 1 week old, 1 day old, all the way through when we were depending on our parents and they weren't available for us. Layer upon layer upon layer of experience when we couldn't get our parents when we were in distress. That is what makes us so vulnerable, so susceptible to any kind of disconnectedness, to loss of belonging, to rejection, isolation, humiliation, ostracization. I'm probably repeating things by this point. We are supremely vulnerable to that, and these things cause us as much pain as the pain that we experience when a burning house collapses on top of us. So take a look at this video.
In the still face experiment, what the mother did was she sits down and she's playing with her baby who's about a year of age.
Are you my good girl? Oh.
And she gives a greeting to the baby gives a greeting back to her.
Yeah.
This baby starts pointing at different places in the world, and the mother's trying to engage her and play with her. They're working to coordinate their emotions and their intentions, what they want to do in the world. And that's really what the baby is used to. And then we ask the mother to not respond to the baby. The baby very quickly picks up on this, and then she uses all of her abilities to try and get the mother back. She smiles at the mother. She points because she's used to the mother looking where she points. The baby puts both hands up in front of her and says, "What's happening here?" She makes that screechy sound at the mother, like, "Come on, why aren't we doing this?" Even in this 2 minutes, when they don't get the normal reaction, they react with negative emotions, they turn away, they feel the stress of it, they actually may lose control of their posture because of the stress that they're experiencing.
Okay. I'm here. And what are you doing? Oh, yes. Oh, what a big girl.